Hello, today we're going to be looking at multiplying polynomials. The idea behind this is you need to distribute. Sometimes it looks more like double distribution or triple distribution. I'll explain that when we get there. And then once you've done all the distributing you can, you're going to combine any like terms that you have, if that's possible. So it kind of goes back to our product rule for exponents. I need to multiply 4x to the third times both of these things here. Multiplying each of those individually is kind of like our product rule for exponents. I'm going to multiply the coefficients and add the exponents. So let's try this out. I have 4x to the third times 6x. 4 times 6 is 24. X to the third times x. You can think 3 plus 1 for our exponent gives us x to the fourth. So I get 24x to the fourth. Now I'm going to do the same thing, but multiply by the 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Since it's positive, we'll put a plus sign in front. And then since there's no x here, that's just going to stay x to the third. These are not like terms. This one has a fourth power. This one does not. So this is our final answer right here. Sometimes you'll have more than 2 terms inside your set of parentheses, but the process is still the same. We just need to make sure we multiply 3k by all of the items inside the parentheses. 3 times 7 is 21. K times k squared is k to the third. 3k times k, that's like a 1 in front that helps you. 3 times 1 is positive 3, so plus sign in front. K times k is k squared. Last but not least, 3 times 4 is 12. And between these two things, the only thing we have is a regular k, so just regular k there. Once again, these are not like terms because they all have different exponents. So this right here is my final answer. The rest of these look a little different because we have more than one term in front of the parentheses. So here I have 2 terms in front of the first set of parentheses. What needs to happen here is I need to double distribute. I need to distribute this 2x to both items here and also the negative 7 to both items here. Let's try it. 2x times 7x. 2 times 7 is 14. X times x is x squared. Now I do 2x times negative 6. 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. The x part stays the same. Now I distribute the negative 7. Negative 7 times 7x is negative 49x. Negative 7 times negative 6 is positive 42. At this point in time, I need to check and see if I have any like terms. I do have some like terms here in the middle. This 14x squared doesn't have any like terms with it. It's the only thing with an x squared. But these two in the middle that are both regular x's can be combined. Negative 12 minus 49 gives me negative 61x, and then plus 42. Remember that when you're combining like terms, the x part stays the same, it's just you're adding or subtracting the coefficients. Now I no longer have any like terms, so what I have written here in pink is my final answer. Let's try this one. It's very, very similar. The only thing that's really a little different is that I have 2 terms in this second set of parentheses, but this one has 3. That just means I need to do more distributing, and then I'll probably have more like terms to combine when I get to that point. Let's try it out, starting with distributing 8p. 8 times 6 is 48. P times p squared is p to the third. 8 times 6 is 48. P times p is p squared. 8 times negative 7 is negative 56. And then I just have one single p between the two of those. Now I distribute the 3. 3 times 6p squared is 18p squared. 3 times 6p is 18p. 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. Now let's check to see if we have any like terms. I have 2 terms that have a p squared in them, so I'll be combining those. I have 2 terms that have a regular p in them, so I'll be combining those. So my final answer, 48p to the third stays the same because I only have 1p to the third term. 48 plus 18 gives me 66p squared. Negative 56 plus 18 is negative 38p. And then I only have one lonely just number term, so it stays the same. You're welcome to use a calculator to help you, by the way, with either your multiplying you're combining, so adding or subtracting, or both if you need it, up to you. Now that I no longer have any like terms, this is my final answer. Same idea with these. Again, noticing things that are slightly different. I have 1, 2, 3 terms here, 2 terms here. The process is still pretty much the same. I need to make sure I distribute 6n squared to both things here, then 7n to both things here, then negative 7 to both things here. Let's just take it one piece at a time. 6n squared times 4n, 6 times 4 is 24, n squared times n is n to the third. 6 times 4 is 24, n squared will be the variable part there. Now I distribute the next thing I have to distribute, which is 7n. 7 times 4 is 28, n times n is n squared. 7n times 4 is just 28n. Now I distribute the negative 7. Negative 7 times 4n is negative 28n. Negative 7 times 4 is just negative 28. Now let's look for like terms. So I have n squared and n squared. I have regular n's. This is the only thing with an n to the third. This is the only number term. So let's write out that final answer. 24n to the third stays the same. 24 plus 28 is going to give me 52n squared. Here I have 28 minus 28. So 28 minus 28 equals 0. When I have something equals 0, that means those terms cancel. So I'm not going to see any regular n's in my answer. It's like there's a 0n, but typically I don't write 0n. And then last but not least, our minus 28 stays the same. So this right here is our final answer. Again, we're missing n term because these two canceled. Alrighty, last but not least, I promise this is as crazy as I'll ever give you. You theoretically could have 100 terms here and 100 terms here, but you're not very likely to run into that. That would be kind of crazy. So the most you'll ever see from me for this year is 3 terms in each set of parentheses. It's the same thing we've been doing. There's just more terms to deal with. And I kind of box things out so we don't get mixed up. Starting with 8n squared. 8n squared times 6n squared gives us 48n to the fourth. 8n squared times 8n is 64n to the third. 8n squared times 3 is 24n squared. So I'm done distributing 8n squared. Now I distribute negative n. Negative n is like negative 1n if it helps. You go ahead and write that in. Negative n times 6n squared is negative 6n to the third. Negative 1n times negative 8n is, let's try it again. Negative 1n times 8n gives me negative 8n squared. Negative 1n times 3 is negative 3n. We're not done distributing yet. There's one thing we haven't distributed yet, and that is 4. 4 times 6n is 24n squared. 4 times 8n is 32n. I'm running out of room here. We're going to have to write things a little sideways, and that's okay. 4 times 3 is 12. So I end up with all of those terms. I bet we have like stuff. Let's see what we do. So there's only one term with an n to the fourth. I have 2 terms that have an n to the third. I have 2 terms that have an n squared. And I have 2 terms that are regular n's. And then one lonely just number term. Let's do all that combining. So 48n to the fourth stays the same. It was the only one we had. 64n to the third minus 6n to the third gives us 58. Little moment there. 58n to the third. Sorry about that little moment. Squareds, 24 plus 24 is 48n squared. Oh, and there's one more n squared. We missed it. So we have 24, 24, and negative 8. So I'm not going to get 48. 24 minus 8 is 16, plus 24 is 40n squared. So we should end up with 40n squared. We combine all three of those. Regular n's, negative 3 plus 32 is 29n. And then the plus 12 stays the same. Double check our answer. Are any of these like terms? They are not, so we are completely finished, finally. Yay! That is it for multiplying polynomials. Hopefully now you're feeling pretty comfortable with those. Have a fantastic day.